guys, and welcome to my next video of Doctor Who December. So now I am finally going to talk about my 10 favorite episodes in the RTD era. So yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. Number 10 on this list is The End of Time two-parter. The thing that's interesting about this being on the top 10 list is there's parts of it that I don't like as much. However, the parts that I do like just completely overshadow it. I mean, I've said this before, I'm not the biggest fan of the Master. It's just not, I don't know why entirely, but just not my favorite villain that I've seen so far. So all of that stuff was, not my favorite. However, there were some really great moments. Timothy Dalton showing up, I mean, that was the surprise for me. I don't know if you guys knew, and the stuff with Wilf is the reason that this is on my top 10 list for sure. He is just absolutely amazing. His talk with the doctor, with the gun, and just, it was just so amazing. I loved his kind of whole insight and just him being on this adventure. It was absolutely perfect. I thought it was the best kind of way to end the Doctor's, the 10th Doctor's, his kind of years as the Doctor, without, I mean, they brought all of the kind of main companions back for, Journey's End and stuff like that. But this was kind of a good way to do a nice kind of callback and have a companion there with the Doctor that everybody, I would say almost everybody, absolutely loved. The Doctor's final speech, where he says, "I could do so much more." David Tennant really nails that scene, and the four knocks, just like, that whole thing blew me away. So, and I loved all of the goodbyes at the end. I thought they did a really, really nice job wrapping up 10's years. And I can only hope that whenever I get to the end for 11, that not the same thing, but something similar, maybe to do a bit of like an homage to his years would be lovely. Number 9 on this list is The Fires of Pompeii. I love this episode. It was funny because I felt like the episode got better and better as it went on. I think in the beginning I was like, oh, this is a little strange or a little weird with, for lack of a better term, like, future tellers or fortune teller, or whatever you want to call them. And But I really did think that it does an absolutely amazing job showcasing the kind of issues that the Doctor has, and that dilemma and we kind of see it through the eyes of Donna, which is really great, where he kind of, there are certain moments in time that are very set in stone. And why can't we change it? Why can't we, I like that they actually, because I always had that question, I felt, for like the first few years of the show, that I was just like, well, why not? And I think that episode did a very brilliant job of showcasing what that dilemma is and how it actually affects the Doctor, and in turn, his companions with Donna. I just absolutely loved it. Number 8 on this list, and one of my favorite Christmas specials, is The Next Doctor. Now, if I recall, when I reacted to this, I think quite a few people said that they were unhappy with it because they were like teasing, I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but they were teasing David Morrissey as being the next Doctor. And so then when he wasn't, everybody was like, what? I don't know, but that didn't happen for me. And, David Morrissey, gotta say, any sort of Walking Dead alum is going to get a big old check mark in my book, like, absolutely. But nonetheless, I think it's a really sweet story, and I loved kind of that ending scene, the thank you ending. It was just lovely. I liked the companion. Why am I blanking on her name now? I'm blanking on her name, but the companion to Morrissey's doctor. I put that in, but I just absolutely loved the characters. I loved the acting. I thought the story was sweet. And it just really and I know that I don't think it's that popular, but out of the Christmas specials, it stands out to me. It might be up there with, like, tied with another one for my favorite Christmas special so far. But I absolutely love it. Number 7 on this list is School Reunion. This is one of the episodes I had a blast watching. It is probably close to the first episode that when I watched it all the way through, the time flew by. As I've stated before, I had a couple rough first 2 seasons. And School Reunion was just that one where I was just like, Giles. I was very excited about that. There was a cute, I got introduced to a cute, like, robot-esque dog, canine, which I loved. And I love Sarah Jane. I love Sarah Jane. I think she is absolutely lovely. And I think the whole episode is good fun. Obviously, Mickey always makes it better for me. But the moment that I thought it was really good fun, just the whole episode. But the moment that I particularly loved was kind of that moment at the end with Sarah Jane and the doctor. And it's a testament to both of the actors in that scene that they just absolutely blew it out of the park when it comes to making me feel the history between the two that I never saw. I never saw it, and I felt it. I like teared up, and I was feeling like nostalgic for something that I've never even seen. It was so bizarre, but absolutely amazing. It is one of the ones that it's one of my go-tos to rewatch. I love it. Number 6 on this list is probably everyone's number 1 or close to, and that is Blink. I absolutely adored Blink. I didn't know what to expect the first time around, and I've definitely enjoyed it a lot more with every single rewatch that I've done. I think it was slightly, and not to the degree of, The Girl in the Fireplace or Midnight, but it was slightly had a bit of overhype, which I think when I watched it, I thought it was good, but I wasn't like blown away because I think I just heard so much, and it's weird. Again, this was before I learned to just disregard all of that. But every single time I rewatched it, it just got better and better and better for me. The Weeping Angels, to me, I think, as much as I can tell, are my absolute favorite. It's weird to say favorite after Angels in Manhattan, but, I think they're actually a very terrifying Doctor Who villain, and I just absolutely love that whole story and the way that they were able to introduce it and the way that they weren't entirely scared to make a very Doctor Light episode. I know that they did it before with like Love and Monsters and stuff, but I really think that it's kind of cool to have a little bit of trust in your writing that that is going to, you know, succeed. And it was just amazing. I loved the characters in it, and it just knocks it out of the park. Number 5 on the list is Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel two-parter. I honestly have absolutely no idea how it would rank on everybody else's list, but let me just tell you, I love it. Now, for some of the reasons that I absolutely love this two-parter is, one of them is the fact that I think it did kind of address some really emotional moments. It was funny, when I first saw the Cybermen, I was like, they look ridiculous. I mean, they don't look all that threatening. But once you kind of figure out what they do and how horrible, and to see it sort of, you know, happen to Jackie, it was just horrible, and I didn't like it, and I felt uncomfortable. And so kudos to really kind of making them. And I think that this honestly set the precedent for me really enjoying Cybermen stories. You know, not every single one has completely knocked it out of the park for me, but in general, I kind of get excited when it is a Cybermen story, because I actually just sort of, I don't know, I just tend to like the stories with them as kind of the antagonist. But it is absolutely no surprise that the reason that I love this two-parter is completely because of the way that they were able to actually showcase Mickey and show that, like, how great of a character he is. I mean, you may not agree, but, you know, it's my list, so. But I think that, for me, I kind of always saw this, I could not stand, and I know that they used it and did a play on it in this episode, but I could not stand them just always calling him an idiot. Like, what's the reason? Like, I just, I have some things to say about that, but I think that this was kind of the first time where he kind of really came into his own. He wasn't really worried so much about what the Doctor and Rose kind of thought about his actions. He was just doing what he, you know, deep down wanted to do, where, you know, and I find him to be a very kind, a very brave soul, and I love that. And that we kind of saw him kind of have his shining moment. Though I gotta say, I was absolutely devastated at the end. It was so sad when he was like, I'm gonna stay. I'm like, what, bitch? No, I was very not happy with that. However, I did love the fact that, you know, I just wish we could have followed him. Like, spin-off, right? Like, that's what I wanted to see, because I did like that he kind of made the decision for himself and said, I'm gonna stay. There's a fight that needs to be fought. There's some things that need to be done. And, you know, my grandma's here. And I just, I could talk about Mickey for hours. I'm gonna stop here. But I just absolutely love that two-parter for many reasons. But I just, obviously, finally, I think doing justice to Mickey's character was the number one reason it is in my top 5. Number 4 on this list is Turn Left. I absolutely adored Turn Left, and it's kind of weird because I'm not like the biggest fan of like what if stories. I think Turn Left did it really great, and I think if you ever watch Buffy, The Wish, love that one too. But other than that, the whole what if, because if it doesn't really change anything or whatever, I just have issues with it. So watching it, I was like, what in the world is going on? But wow, did they knock it out of the park with, first of all, Catherine Tate's performance was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The amount of stuff that you could kind of see happening because the Doctor wasn't around was horrific. And they actually, you know, with kind of the taking the people away, that was very reminiscent of, you know, taking people away to like a concentration camp and stuff. Like, that just hits home really, you know. I love the acting of Donna, Wilf, and Donna's mom, even though, you know, I don't think Donna's mom is the most likable character. I think that the actress was quite amazing in this episode as well. And I just loved the whole idea of it. It just, I can rewatch it over and over again. It's such a great showcase of Donna, and I love Donna's journey of, you know, her just being a ordinary, whatever you want to call it, just woman, to being, you know, just the most important woman in the world. Or, you know, it just is so wonderful. It's a touching story. It's a tragic story. There's just so much going on, so many emotions. I cannot express how much I love this episode. Number 3 on this list is the Human Nature Family of Blood 2-parter. This was the episode. If you want to know, if everybody's like, which episode was it that gave you hope for the show? This was it. This was it. On so many levels. Again, I think in the beginning I didn't entirely know what to think, but I was intrigued. But it just, the emotion of it all, it was the first time that I really felt a strong emotional connection to a story with, you know, Doctor Who. It just, David Tennant did wonderful with his acting in this 2-parter. The whole kind of soldier thing at the end really got to me. There was just so much that just, I felt just a deep connection to the story, and I loved it so much. And it was the moment that I said, oh, okay. You know, I kind of was very excited about where it could go from there, because it was just so, it was the first time that I said, oh, okay, the writing can really be, no offense to the earlier stories, but they just didn't resonate with me as much as that one did. And I was like, oh, okay, I can really see myself actually getting invested in this story and in these characters. I thought it was a great exploration of the Doctor, weirdly, because he wasn't the Doctor for the majority of it. It just was amazing, and the ending was pretty intense as well. I really loved it. Number 2 on this list is the Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead 2-parter. This episode was just, I loved it, and fantastic writing. I loved the writing of River. I love River. I'm so into River, but I just loved that even in that first two episodes that we see with her, I'm just like, oh my God, I love her, you know, like, she's so amazing. And then to see, I got emotional and I was like, why am I getting emotional? I feel like I don't even know this girl. But the way that Alex Kingston and David Tennant played that scene, oh, so good. I can't even begin to express how much that you could tell that there's just so much emotion there. And I loved that he knew, like, it seems like he kind of knew that she was important, even though he may not know how or why or what the heck is going on, or important to him, you know, in that sense. I just was amazing. And I love the way that they were able to do that whole story. Not only that, not to even just go into the emotional side of things, I thought that the villain was actually pretty terrifying. Shadows, like, that's fucking scary. I love that Doctor Who is able to take things like statues or shadows or water and make it scary, and they're very good at that kind of psychological thriller, which I think is good. You know, they can't, As much as I absolutely believe an axe murderer who wants to chop your head off is scary, I mean, that's scary as well. Um, I feel like they have to do more psychological because there is an element of it being a family centered show and stuff. So I like that they're able to still do the scary without, showing anything that might be a little inappropriate or something. I liked Donna's. I felt so bad for the guy and her. Like, that was really sad, and there was just so many. I just absolutely love the that whole two-parter. It is just, in my opinion, it is nothing short of a masterpiece. I love it. Number 1 on this list is the Stolen Earth Journey's End two-parter. And let me tell you why. There's many reasons why. But the main reason, and the thing is that when I do this and I interact with you guys, it influences how I watch it. I'm not just watching it, I would say, the way that most of you watch Doctor Who, where you just watch one episode and then you watch the next episode. I get feedback, I get hype. Sometimes the hype just falls flat, as we've seen. The way that you guys interact with me can influence how I feel about a specific episode. And Journey's End, I'm gonna cry, was so wonderful. Just those of you who were with me back then, not too long before I filmed Journey's End, I got like some really bad news and stuff like that. And I was not having the best of times, but I was okay, but a hard time. And I was able to be so distracted from it all because of you guys, and you guys were so excited for me to watch Journey's End. And I don't know if it was because I really love Donna and you were excited to see the ending or that sort of scene and stuff, or the Mickey coming back and me screeching like a crazy person, like any of that. I just think that you guys had just made me feel so excited for watching an episode of a show. I was so pumped, and when I watched it, it didn't disappoint. I was so happy, and I had such a great time, and there were such emotional moments. Harriet Jones, that was emotional for me. Wilf being in it, and obviously the Donna moment was so heartbreaking, and all of that. And Sarah Jane being back, everybody, and Martha, everybody, and even Rose, and Jack, and it was just so amazing to see everyone, it just absolutely, amazing to kind of see, how it all kind of came together. I would say, there might be a couple of things that I wasn't entirely happy with plot-wise, but the emotion that I had in that episode, between how I felt very embraced and loved by you guys, but not just that, just the episode in general, even if I just watched it, I would have absolutely loved it as well, without your input or hype. Was just, it's very difficult, and I knew as soon as I made this list, I said, I have a feeling, I rewatched everything, and I said, I don't think anything is going to top Journey's End, just because I have I feel like very strong emotional connection to it, and that is the majority thanks to you guys, a lot thanks to Donna, and a whole lot thanks to Mickey, but I think that, you guys really, influenced that being my favorite, and I loved that time on my channel, and I kind of said, to myself, as I was getting ready to like publish the reaction and stuff, and I was like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen again. And that beautiful, loving feeling that you guys gave to me, and I cherish it so much, so much. Okay, so now I'm emotional. But yeah, those are my top 10 favorite episodes of the RTD era, and I would like to know what your top 10 are, so leave that in the comments. I absolutely love doing these videos. These were some of the videos that took a very, very long time to do, just because I rewatched everything and I took notes, and it was a long process. So I do hope that you enjoyed them. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.